Title: Reset Your Brain in 3 Days. The Dopamine Detox Challenge. Have you ever felt tired even after resting? Like your brain is full, but your heart feels empty. You scroll, but nothing feels exciting anymore. That's not because you're lazy. It's because your brain is overloaded with dopamine. Stay with me until the end, because today you will practice listening. Learn new vocabulary and reflect on how small steps every day can make a big difference. In this video, you will practice English listening with a story, learn key vocabulary, and try some speaking practice. This is level A to 2 to B1, so it's perfect if you already understand basic English but want to grow faster. And because I want you to improve even faster, I have prepared a free practice exercise for you. Check the description box below, click the link, and complete the activity after this video. It will help you review vocabulary and speaking. In today's world, your brain is constantly under attack, not by danger, but by stimulation. Every scroll, every notification, every short video that flashes for just 5 seconds is training your brain to expect more, faster, now. It feels good for a moment, but in the long run, it steals your focus, your patience, and your natural motivation. Neuroscience has a simple explanation for this. Your brain's reward system works on dopamine, a neurotransmitter that helps you feel excitement and pleasure. But when dopamine is released too often from artificial sources, like social media, your brain gets used to it. That means real life starts to feel dull, slow, or even meaningless. You open your phone, searching for another hit of novelty, but what you're really searching for is yourself. That's where the Dopamine Detox Challenge comes in. It's not about punishment or isolation. It's about giving your brain a chance to reset, to remember how to feel joy and satisfaction from real life again. Let's go through the process, step by step. Day 1. Disconnect to reconnect. Your only mission today is to unplug. Turn off all notifications. Delete or temporarily sign out from social media and YouTube. At first, your mind will panic. You might feel restless, bored, or even anxious. That's completely normal. It's withdrawal, but boredom isn't your enemy. Boredom is your brain healing. When you stop flooding it with instant pleasure, your brain starts repairing its reward system. It's like a muscle that's been overworked. Now, it finally has time to recover. So instead of reaching for your phone, take a slow breath. Look outside. Listen to real sounds. Notice the small things you usually ignore: the air, the light, your own thoughts. This is what reconnection feels like. Day 2. Focus on simple joys. Now that your brain has slowed down, it's time to rebuild joy, the natural kind. Do something ordinary, but do it with full attention. Read a few pages of a book. Take a walk without your phone. Write your thoughts in a journal. Cook something simple from scratch. At first, these things may seem quiet, even too quiet, but something beautiful will happen. Your senses will start to wake up again. The sound of rain will feel richer. The smell of coffee will seem deeper. And you'll realize peace was never gone. It was just buried under too much noise. When you stop chasing constant stimulation, you begin to notice again. You start to feel grounded, present, human. Day 3. Deep work and reflection. Today is about power, but not the kind you find in adrenaline or excitement. It's the calm, focused power that comes from clarity. Choose one meaningful goal. It could be studying, writing, planning, or creating something new. Then, commit 1 solid hour to it. No phone, no notifications, no background distractions. For the first few minutes, your mind will wander, but then you'll feel something shift. Your thoughts will start to align. Your focus will return, slow, steady, powerful. After you finish, reflect. Ask yourself, how did I feel during that hour? What did I learn about myself when everything else was silent? You'll notice this silence isn't empty. It's full of your own energy, your own creativity, your own mind coming back online. Don't remember this. Detox is not punishment. It's freedom. Freedom from the control of the screen. Freedom from the constant noise. Freedom to feel alive again. When you stop feeding your brain with empty rewards, you make space for real satisfaction. And that satisfaction doesn't fade when the screen goes dark. It grows stronger inside you. Your focus is not lost forever. It's waiting behind the noise, ready for you to return. So, take the challenge. 3 days, 3 steps, and a new relationship with your own mind. This is your chance to reset your dopamine, rediscover real peace, and remember what it means to truly live. Doubt. Now, let's move to the listening story. Ditto was the kind of guy who was always online. From the moment he opened his eyes in the morning, his phone was already in his hand. Emails from work. Group chats that never stopped. Short videos that made him laugh for a second, then scroll for hours. He told himself, "I'm just staying updated. I'm being productive." But deep down, he knew he was exhausted, not from work, but from noise. Every night, Ditto went to bed feeling tired but never truly rested. His brain was full of notifications, not ideas. His attention was scattered. His dreams were blurry. Until one Friday, he watched a short video about dopamine detox, a challenge to disconnect from digital stimulation for 3 days. He laughed. 3 days. Easy, he said. But the truth, it wasn't easy at all. Day 1, the chaos begins. Ditto decided to turn off his phone and put it in a drawer. Within 10 minutes, he felt an itch. His hand reached for his pocket, empty. His mind screamed, "Just check once." But he didn't. By the afternoon, silence filled his room. He didn't know what to do. He paced around, opened the fridge 5 times, stared at the wall. For the first time, he realized how uncomfortable it felt to be alone with his thoughts. That night, he couldn't sleep, but something deep inside him began to wake up. Day 2, the quiet mind. The next morning, something felt different. There was no vibration, no sound, no bright screen pulling his attention. He sat by the window with a cup of coffee, and for the first time in months, he noticed the sunlight, the sound of birds, the smell of the air. His mind began to slow down, and in that quiet, ideas started to appear like tiny sparks. He grabbed a notebook and began to write. Not emails, not reminders, just thoughts. At first, messy words. Then, sentences. Then, a plan. He didn't realize it yet, but he was sketching the idea for his future business. Day 3, the beginning, not the end. By the 3rd day, Ditto no longer felt anxious without his phone. He felt free. He went for a walk, talked to a stranger, even cooked dinner without background noise. And while eating, he smiled, really smiled. That night, Ditto opened his drawer and looked at his phone. For the first time, he didn't need it. He turned it on slowly, and instead of scrolling, he wrote a note to himself. The world didn't end when I turned off my phone, it began. Sometimes, silence isn't empty. It's full of answers. When you stop feeding your brain with constant noise, you give it space to create, to rest, and to dream again. Vocabulary to learn. Detox, taking a break to clean your body or mind. Restless, unable to relax or stay still. Stimulation, something that excites or activates your mind. Silence, the state of being quiet and calm. Awareness, being conscious or mindful of what's happening. Now let's practice speaking. Imagine your Ditto talking to your friend after your detox. Try saying, "I didn't realize how much time I wasted on my phone. My mind feels clear now." You should try a digital detox too. It changes everything. Or switch roles. You be the friend asking questions. How did it feel to stay offline for 3 days? What did you learn about yourself? Would you do it again? Listening story 2, Sarah's focus comeback. Sarah was a bright high school student, curious, funny, full of ideas. But lately, her grades had been dropping, not because she didn't understand the lessons, but because she couldn't focus. Every time she opened her book, her hand automatically reached for her phone. A notification, a game alert, a message from friends. And suddenly, what was meant to be a 5-minute break turned into 2 hours of gaming. Her room was quiet, but her mind was chaotic. She told herself, "I'll study later." But later never came. She kept chasing the next level, the next win, the next hit of excitement. And when exam season arrived, Sarah felt lost. The breaking point. One night, she sat at her desk staring at her math book. Her eyes were on the page, but her brain was somewhere else, thinking about the game she had left unfinished. Tears filled her eyes. She whispered, "Why can't I just focus like before?" That was her wake-up call. She realized her brain wasn't broken, it was just overstimulated. Too much dopamine, too little rest. So that night, she made a promise to herself. I will try a 3-day dopamine detox. Just 3 days. Day 1, the empty space. The next morning she deleted all her gaming apps. Her hands trembled a little, like saying goodbye to something she loved, and also something that had been controlling her. She turned off all notifications, put her phone in another room, and sat with her schoolbooks in silence. For the first hour, she felt strange. Her mind kept searching for distraction. Music, games, noise. But there was none. It was just her thoughts, and the sound of the clock ticking. She sighed, "This is so boring." But then she realized maybe boredom wasn't the enemy. Maybe it was the doorway to focus. Day 2, the quiet return. The next morning, Sarah woke up earlier than usual. No phone to scroll, no messages waiting. She decided to do something she hadn't done in months. She opened her textbook before breakfast. At first it felt slow, but after a few pages something clicked. The words started making sense. Her brain stopped jumping around. She could finally stay with one thing. By the afternoon, she was solving problems she couldn't understand before. And the best part, she wasn't even thinking about her phone. Day 3, Focus Reborn. By the third day, Sarah felt different. Her mind was calm, her thoughts were clearer. When she sat to study, time flew by. Not because of excitement, but because she was deeply present. When exam day arrived, she didn't panic. She breathed slowly, focused on each question, and walked out of the room smiling. Not because it was easy, but because she knew she had done her best. A week later, her teacher returned the test papers. Sarah's name was in the top 3. Her friends cheered, but inside, she felt something deeper than pride. She felt peace after the detox. After exams, Sarah didn't quit gaming completely. She still played sometimes, with friends, for fun. But now, she controlled the game. The game didn't control her. She learned one of the most powerful lessons of her teenage years. Discipline is not about punishment. It's about freedom. Vocabulary. Concentrate means to give full attention to something. Notifications are alerts or messages on your device. Self-control is the ability to manage your actions and feelings. Improved means became better. Speaking practice. Imagine you are Sarah talking to a friend. I used to waste so much time online. Now I can finally focus and feel proud again. Repeat after me. I control my time. My focus is my power. Listening story 3. Rafi's creative reset. Rafi had always been a storyteller. He loved creating new worlds, weaving emotions into words, and making readers feel something. But lately, his mind was empty. Every time he sat in front of his laptop, the screen stayed blank. No ideas, no flow, just frustration. He told himself he was researching, but deep down he knew the truth. He was trapped in distraction, scrolling through endless videos, watching tutorials he'd never use, and comparing his writing to others online. His creativity had been replaced by noise. The breaking point. One night, Rafi stared at his screen for hours. His document was still empty. He felt like a writer who had forgotten how to write. He whispered to himself, "What happened to me? Where did my words go?" That question hit deep. He realized his mind wasn't broken, it was overloaded. He had been feeding it too much information, and not enough silence. So that night, Rafi made a decision. He would try a 1-week dopamine detox. Day 1, the digital silence. The next morning he packed his bag, a few books, a journal, and his favorite pen. He turned off his phone, left his laptop at home, and took a small trip to a quiet cabin near the beach. At first the silence was almost painful. He kept reaching for his phone, only to find nothing. No messages, no updates, no noise. Just the sound of waves, birds, and the wind moving through the trees. Rafi felt strange and disconnected. He realized how much his mind depended on constant stimulation. Day 2, the restless mind. The second day was harder. His thoughts ran wild. Memories, worries, unfinished stories, regrets. He felt like his brain was rebelling, demanding distraction. He walked along the beach, muttering to himself, "This is ridiculous. Maybe I should just go back." But something inside told him to stay. He took a deep breath and said softly, "Maybe silence is not my enemy. Maybe it's my teacher." Day 4, the quiet return. By the fourth day, something began to shift. He woke up before sunrise and watched the ocean turn gold. The sound of the waves started to feel comforting. He opened his journal and began to write. Not a novel, not a plan, just thoughts, feelings, bits of dialogue. And then words started flowing again, not forced, not perfect, just real. He wrote about loneliness, hope, and rediscovering himself. By the evening, he had filled 10 pages without noticing the time. His creativity wasn't gone, it had simply been buried under noise. Day 7, the return to purpose. By the last day of the detox, Rafi felt lighter. His mind was calm, his heart clear. He no longer needed constant entertainment. He had found joy in stillness. When he returned home, he opened his laptop again. This time, the words came naturally. Within 3 days, he completed the first 3 chapters of his new novel, the same story he had been struggling with for months. He smiled and whispered, "Creativity doesn't come from doing more. It comes from feeling more. Lesson learned." Rafi discovered that silence isn't empty, it's full of answers. The world tries to convince us that inspiration comes from more input. But sometimes the greatest creativity is born from quiet reflection. Sometimes creativity doesn't come from doing more, but from doing less. Key vocabulary. Overloaded means having too much to process or handle. Detox means a break from something that drains your energy. Restless means unable to relax or stay still. Stimulation means excitement or activity that keeps your brain busy. Reflection means deep thinking about yourself or your experiences. Speaking practice, role-play opportunities. Imagine you are Rafi explaining your detox to a friend. "I didn't realize how much noise was in my head. At first, I felt lost without my phone. But then I felt free. Silence helped me find my creativity again." Now, switch roles and be the friend, asking Rafi, "Was it hard to disconnect? What did you learn from being offline? Do you think I should try a detox too?" Practice saying each sentence with emotion and expression, like you're having a real conversation about rediscovering your purpose. Reflection. Take a moment and think. When was the last time you gave your brain a real break? What could happen if you spent just 1 day without your phone? Maybe, like Detox or Rafi, you'll discover your next big idea. If this video inspired you, give it a like. It really helps the channel grow and reach more English learners around the world. Comment below, what will you do during your own dopamine detox? Your story might inspire someone else today. And don't forget to subscribe for more emotional English listening stories that help you improve your language and your life. Remember, peace begins when you pause.